Hello. Today we are going to discuss about the reference management. What is reference management? If you look at any published paper or a thesis, at the end of the paper you have got a section called reference section, and this is how a typical reference section looks like. There are several sources that you have cited in your paper, and that becomes a reference section. Now, why should one cite different sources in one's paper? When you write a paper or when you write a thesis, why should you write or why should you cite different papers or published work? So the references basically serve three purposes. One is to give credit to the previous workers. So whenever you write introduction, when you write what is known in the given field, then you cite certain references. Such and such person has done this work, this author has done this work, and so on. So then you cite the references. Second purpose of references is to add credibility to your work. The third purpose is to give reading material to the readers. Because if a person is interested in your work, when he or she reads your work, then you are providing him or her with lot of reading material because you have cited several papers in your reference section. So these are certain basic purposes of citing different sources in your paper. Now, there are some other utilities of references, right? Especially to assess an author's productivity or contribution to the science, or to assess the contribution of a journal to the scientific field. We use references or citations. So citations received by a particular author in different years for his published work will be a good parameter to assess the quality of his or her papers that have been published, because your papers are likely to be cited only when people who read them find it interesting. If your work is interesting, then only your work is read, and then only your work is cited. So more number of citations you receive means people are finding your work interesting. That is why they are citing you. Now, even the most commonly used parameter of assessing the journal quality is called impact factor, and this is also based on the citations. Similarly, there are several other metrics like cite score. Cite score is also similar metric, but it estimates the citations received for the published articles in a journal during past 3 years instead of 2 years. And another difference is that cite score is calculated based on the citations received on Scopus, not Web of Science. So there are several other measures as well. One of them is H index. H index is the largest number H, such that H publications have at least H citations. This could be for an author, this could be for a journal, both it could be there. So for an author, for example, this is a graph of a particular author, and his H index is 10. What does it mean? When you calculate H index, when you need to calculate H index of a given author, what you need to do is, you need to rearrange all his publications in the descending order of number of citations. Suppose he has published 9 papers in this example. You arrange all these 9 papers in a descending order as per the number of citations. So the paper that has received the maximum number of citations will be at the top, and the paper that has received the minimum number of citations is at the bottom. Now you go on looking at one by one from the top to bottom. So the first paper has received 43 citations. 43 is more than 1, right? Second paper has received 32 citations, and 32 is more than 2. Now coming to 7th paper. Seventh paper has received only 5 citations, which is not even equivalent to 7, neither more than 7. Hence, in this example, the H index of this particular author is 6, because each of the first 6 papers have received at least 6 citations, but 7th has not received 7 citations. Hence, the H index of this author is 6. This is how you can calculate the H index of an author. Now, coming to the citation styles, different journals follow different styles of citation. For instance, there is MLA style, Modern Language Association style, AMA style, American Medical Association, APA style, American Psychological Association, Chicago Manual style, Vancouver style, and there are several other styles which are followed by different journals of different streams. Now, there are fundamentally 2 types of referencing patterns. One is parenthetical system and another one is notional system. In notional system you use the numerical order to indicate the number, different citations. Whereas in parenthetical system, you use author and year or author and date. This is the format which is used in parenthetical system. Basically, whenever you cite a paper, you cite it twice. Once in the text, main text, in-text citation, and second is in the reference section. And there has to be corresponding match between the in-text citation and the citation in the reference section. This is one example where the number is written in square brackets. This is another example where the number is written in square brackets, but the number as well as square brackets in superscript format. This is another area where, another pattern where the author and year are named in simple brackets. This is another pattern where the numbers are mentioned in simple brackets. Now coming to bibliography reference section. In this case, for example, surname, comma, initials, full stop, then year, dot, title, dot, then journal abbreviation in italics, then volume, and so on. This is another style where you have got serial numbers in square brackets, then you write initials, then put a dot, and then surname, then again a dot or a comma, and then you add title in inverted commas, and full journal name you write in italics. So this is a third pattern where you write the numbers without brackets and surname and initials without any full stops or commas, and then again the name of the title of the paper and again the abbreviation of the journal. So the problem is obvious. Too many journals are there, and each journal rather follows a different style, and too many differences are there between different styles. Sometimes you have to use a full stop after the surname, sometimes you should not use a full stop, sometimes you use journal abbreviation, whereas sometimes you use the full title of the journal, sometimes you use year immediately after the author, sometimes you write the year at the end, and so on. There are several differences, and it is very difficult to remember the details of each referencing style, and this needs a lot of typing, and there are chances of lot of mistakes being committed. And when a journal rejects a paper, you need to change the citation style before submitting it to another journal. This is another problem. So now we know the problems, and now how to overcome this and how to deal with this problem. When you have only a few references, maybe 10 or 15 references, what I recommend is better you copy the references wherever they are available in the standard format. For example, if you are using PubMed, the PubMed Central gives you an option to go for citation, and there are 4 citation styles which are already given. You just right click, copy it and paste it under the reference section. This is the easiest thing to do, but this is possible only when you have got a limited number of references, maybe 10 or 15 or 20. But when it comes to thesis or maybe a review article or a systematic review where you have to deal with more than hundreds of references, right? In such cases, what you need to do? The best thing to do is go for a reference manager or reference management tool or a reference management software. Yes, even Microsoft Word gives you some option of adding references, but again it is cumbersome because you need to type the author name, title of the paper, journal name and other things. You need to type everything and then you need to add it to the references section and then you can use it. But again, this is a cumbersome process. So what I would suggest you to do is to use the reference management software. And today we are going to learn how to use one of those reference management softwares, that is Mendeley. There are many reference management tools or softwares available on the web, and many of them are free of cost, but many of them are subscription based and you need to pay money to use them. So these are the tools that help scholars to create and manage their lists of references for research projects or theses or publications. And most of these tools are designed to organize citations into specific formats for the preparation of manuscripts and bibliographies. Many search tools provide ways to download references into reference management tools. Now, what is Mendeley? It is a free academic software, cross-platform software, because it can be used over Windows or Mac or Linux, any other platforms, and it supports all the major browsers, maybe Google Chrome, maybe Firefox, and all other such commonly used browsers are supported by this software. Then there are two versions, one is web-based version and another one is desktop version. You need to go to the Mendeley website and then you need to download the website, download the Mendeley and it gets installed on your desktop, and then you should also have an online account to be able to use it, so that there is one web-based version and then there is a desktop version. Both of them can be set to sync. And then there are two important things that you need to download along with Mendeley. One is web importer tool. Depending on the browser, you need to import or you need to install a web importer tool which will be installed onto your browser, and it will appear as a Mendeley icon. This is the icon which will appear on your toolbar. And then there is another plugin called MS Word plugin. If you use Microsoft Word, then you need to install MS Word plugin, or if you use some other open source software, you may go for plugins for LibreOffice also. Now, after you install your MS Word plugin, this is how your MS Word reference tab would look like. There is a Mendeley icon which is visible. This is the Mendeley desktop icon. You can see here. When I click this icon, my Mendeley desktop opens and I am now able to view my library. Library means it is composed of lot of papers which I have added to my library, and I would be using these papers in my reference section whenever I write a paper. Right? For that purpose I am generating my own library. Now when I open this, then I have a option to go to the tools and then install web importer. When I click over this, then I can get my web importer tool installed, and then I can also install MS Word plugin, but it shows uninstall because I have already got it installed on my MS Word. So these are the two things that you need to do, and you are able to download this Mendeley from this website, that is mendeley.com. Go to this mendeley.com and then click download Mendeley, and I have already downloaded, and that is why again my library is visible to me. my profile is visible. This is the library, and this is the library of my web-based version of Mendeley. This is the library, and I have populated this library by adding several references. Now fundamentally what we are doing is, we are generating library by adding several papers from different sources. Then we are saving it, we are synchronizing this web version with the desktop version, and then we will be using these references in our papers and while citing them. Right? These are the three steps fundamentally. And so first we shall see and we shall learn how to add references to my library, because whenever you create a user account, your library will be empty, completely empty. You need to generate or populate this library by adding different papers. Whenever you do your literature search, maybe using Scopus or maybe using PubMed, then you come across with several papers and you would like to add those papers to your library. And I'll show you how to do this. See, I have got my Mendeley web importer installed on my Google Chrome, and that is where I am able to view this Mendeley icon. Suppose I am using maybe PubMed, and this is the paper that I want to add to my library. What I'll do is I'll just click on this Mendeley icon on my web browser. Now this paper is visible, and there are several other papers visible because they may be there, maybe in the reference section or maybe somewhere there on the other sides of the web page. Now I want to add this paper, so I click this, I check mark this and add PDFs if available, and then maybe I'll add this to a particular folder. I can maybe workshop demo, and then I add this paper to that folder, add. Now I have added this paper to my library under specific folder called workshop demo. Okay. And then view library. I can see this, if this has been really added or not. This is my library. See, this is the recently added paper. See, now it is visible over here, right? Now I have added a paper. Similarly, when you are maybe using Scopus, maybe you want to add some papers which are there on Scopus. Maybe search Scopus, maybe documents, you are willing to search Scopus, maybe you are typing Ayurveda, search. Now you get the list of papers that contain the term Ayurveda in title and abstract. Now maybe this is the paper that I want to add. This is the paper I opened it up, and then I click Mendeley web importer tool. Now this paper becomes visible on this box. See here, this paper has become visible. Attenuation of adjuvant-induced arthritis and so on. Yes, I click this, I check mark, and then again add this paper to my folder. And let us see if this has been added to my library or not. See, this paper also now appears on my library. See, this is how I generate or populate my library. Now we need to also add these papers to my desktop version of Mendeley. What I will do is, I would just click sync. So whenever I sync, then those papers that I have just added to my web version will be added to my desktop version as well. This paper has now appeared in my library. Now I have added it, right? So once I add different papers to my library, now I'll be able to use them. So this is one way of adding the papers to library. that is through web importer tool. By using web importer tool, whenever you search for different papers, maybe through Scopus or through PubMed, you will be able to add the paper directly to your library just by clicking on web importer tool. This is one method. Then there are several other methods of adding papers. You can add the PDFs that are already there on your desktop. You can just drag them and drop them over this Mendeley desktop, and then you can add. You can add a folder also. You can add the entry manually also. Suppose you want to cite some newspaper report which was published maybe 10 years ago. You have got that paper cutting, and now you don't have the web link to that newspaper report. Then what you would do is add the entry manually, go to the type of references that you want to add, maybe book or book section, case, computer program, film, hearing, newspaper article. You click newspaper article, and then you add the title of the newspaper article, add the authors, then publication, year, pages, abstract, and so on, whatever you want to add, and then click save, so that you can add any new entry manually. So you can do manual entry also. So once you have generated your library, you have populated your library, that means you already have whatever references that you would like to add to your paper. After populating your library, we will now see how to add these references to your paper. Suppose this is a paper that I am writing. I have added some random text, and assume that this is a paper that I am writing, and now I am willing to add some references. So what I will do is keep my cursor at the correct place where I would like to add or insert references, then go to References tab. Now this is the insert citation, and now add the references based on, you search the references maybe based on the author name, or maybe year, or maybe journal name. For example, Journal of Ayurveda and Integrative Medicine. So this is the paper that I want to add. Then there is another paper which is authored by maybe Singh. This is the paper I want to add. Another paper maybe on physical activity. Yes. So these are the papers that I wanted to add, and now I click add. So now 1, 2, 3, the references have been added. Similarly, here I want to add maybe a few more references, maybe author name. Through author name I am searching, maybe another paper I search through author name. Maybe through year I am searching another paper, maybe another paper by title I am searching, and I am adding, then click OK. So I have added few more references. So totally I have added 7 references, and this is in text referencing, and this is in Vancouver style. Now I want to generate the reference section. This is the reference section, and I will click insert bibliography. Now all these 7 papers are automatically added. You don't need to type anything. Virtually you don't need to type anything, and with a single click of mouse you are able to add all these references. Now not only this, you have got several other options as well, like you want to change the reference style from Vancouver, you want to convert it into AMA. Now just with the click of mouse you have changed this pattern to AMA, and see all the papers, references also got changed automatically. Similarly APA, if you want to change it to APA, which is author year format, which uses author year format or parenthetical format. See here automatically all the references got converted into author year format, and they got rearranged alphabetically. This is another difference between the two styles of referencing. In parenthetical system, you arrange the references in alphabetical order, whereas in this notional system, you arrange the papers in a numerical format, numerical order. So, irrespective of what style you want to adhere with, simple, by a single click of mouse, you are able to do all this, and you don't need to worry about the mistakes. Of course, there could be mistakes when importing, then you can go to the library and then get your entries corrected, and then you can add them and save them. So this is what is Mendeley all about. Thank you.